He placed his trembling hands on her legs, rainwater dripping from his worn hoodie onto the pristine wheelchair. 17-year-old Isaiah knelt on the wet sidewalk outside the Westbrook Medical Plaza, his fingers hovering over the knees of a woman he'd only seen from a distance, Catherine Westbrook, the name on the building itself. "Please," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the storm. "Just let me try. I know I can help." Her driver stood nearby, umbrella raised, face tight with skepticism. But Catherine, exhausted, desperate, her designer coat soaked through, looked down at this kid with something close to hope. "What do you want?" she asked. Isaiah swallowed hard. "I haven't eaten since yesterday. If this works, just a meal, that's all." What neither of them knew was that this encounter was no accident, and in 72 hours a DNA test would reveal a truth that had been buried for 17 years, 3 days earlier. Isaiah's alarm didn't go off. It never did. He just woke up at 5:30 a.m. because his body knew sleep was a luxury he couldn't afford. The studio apartment was dark, cold. His grandmother Ruby slept in the only bedroom, door cracked open so he could hear if she needed help during the night. Isaiah unfolded himself from the couch, his back aching from the springs that poked through the thin cushions. He moved quietly to the kitchen corner, opened the cabinet. 1 egg left, half a loaf of bread. He cracked the egg into a pan, divided it carefully down the middle. 1 slice of bread, torn in half. Her portion went onto a chipped plate with a note scribbled on torn notebook paper. "Gone to work. Love you, Grams." "Aye." His half. He ate standing up. 30 seconds. Gone. On the coffee table sat his most valuable possession, a used anatomy textbook, $8 from the thrift store. Pages dog-eared and highlighted in yellow. He'd spent 2 years teaching himself about muscles, nerves, bones, about how the body heals. Sometimes it just needs someone to remind it how. Physical therapy. That's what he wanted to study. What he dreamed about when he allowed himself to dream. But dreams cost money. Isaiah grabbed his backpack and stepped into the pre-dawn darkness of the South Side neighborhood. Graffiti on the walls, broken streetlights. He walked fast, head down. First stop, Save Mart grocery store, 6 a.m. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as Isaiah stocked shelves in aisle 7. Canned vegetables, alphabetical order, faces forward, no dents showing. "Grant!" Mr. Peterson's voice cut through the store. Isaiah's stomach dropped. "Yes, sir?" "This entire aisle. You stocked it wrong yesterday. Green beans before corn. Fix it. Now." Isaiah looked at the shelf. It was perfect. Exactly how Mr. Peterson wanted it. But he nodded. "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir." He spent the next hour restocking 200 cans. His hands were cramped. His stomach growled. He'd burned through that half egg in the first 2 hours. $9 an hour. 5 hours. $45 before taxes. Every dollar mattered. Ruby's arthritis medication cost $120 a month. Rent was $950. Utilities, $80. Food, if they were lucky, $200. Isaiah did the math in his head constantly. A calculator of survival. 11 a.m. Shift done. He walked 3 miles to the Westbrook Medical Plaza. No money for the bus. His sneakers had holes in the soles. When it rained, his socks got wet. The Medical Plaza was different from his neighborhood. Clean, marble floors, glass walls. Rich people came here for treatments that cost more than his yearly income. Isaiah changed into his janitor uniform in the basement. Gray shirt, gray pants, a name tag that said, Isaiah, custodial staff. He mopped the 3rd-floor hallway, invisible to the doctors and nurses who passed by. Sometimes former classmates from high school walked through with their parents for appointments. They never recognized him, or pretended not to. He'd dropped out 6 months ago, junior year. 3 credits from graduating. The guidance counselor had called him in. "Isaiah, you have potential, your grades—" "My grandmother needs me," he'd said. There are programs. Financial aid. She needs me now. That was the end of that conversation. Now he mopped floors in the building where he used to dream of working as a physical therapist. Some days he cleaned the executive suite on the 10th floor. Photos on the walls showed the same woman, elegant, powerful, always in a wheelchair. Catherine Westbrook, CEO, founder. The name on the building. He'd overheard nurses talking in the break room once. Ms. Westbrook's tried everything. 7 specialists, experimental treatments. Nothing works. Spinal injury from a car accident 3 years ago. Such a tragedy. Isaiah had lingered, listening. Later, he'd found medical charts in the recycling bin. He knew he shouldn't look, but he couldn't help himself. Paraplegia, T12 vertebra injury, complete loss of sensation and motor function below the waist. He'd gone home that night and researched for hours on his cracked phone screen. Read about neural pathways, about how sometimes the connection wasn't severed, just sleeping. About pressure point therapy and electrical stimulation and controversial treatments that mainstream medicine dismissed. About healing hands. 5 p.m. Janitor shift done. Isaiah changed back into his street clothes and grabbed his bicycle from the rack. The seat was held together with duct tape. The front wheel wobbled. Evening shift. Food delivery. He pedaled through traffic, dodging cars, delivering Thai food and burgers and sushi to people in nice apartments. Sometimes they tipped well. Most times they didn't. Tonight was slow. The sky looked angry, dark clouds rolling in. His phone buzzed with a weather alert. Severe thunderstorm warning. By 9 p.m., he'd made $8 in tips. He pedaled home in the growing wind, legs burning. Ruby was already asleep when he got back. Her pill bottles sat on the counter. She was rationing them again. Taking 1 pill every other day instead of daily because they couldn't afford the refill yet. Isaiah opened the kitchen drawer where they kept important papers. Underneath the bills and old receipts, he found it. A community college brochure. Physical therapy assistant program. 2-year degree. Job placement rate, 89%. Starting salary, $42,000. Application deadline, November 30th, 3 weeks away. Application fee, $75. He closed the drawer. On the table sat his anatomy textbook. He opened it to the section on spinal injuries and neural regeneration. Studied until his eyes burned, fell asleep with his head on the pages. In his dreams, his hands glowed, and people walked again. He was 17 years old, and he was so tired. But tomorrow, he'd wake up at 5:30 and do it all again, because that's what survival looked like. The next day started like every other, until the storm changed everything. Isaiah finished his janitor shift at 4:45 p.m., 15 minutes early. The building manager's voice crackled through the intercom. Severe weather alert. All staff evacuated by 5 p.m. The building closes early. He grabbed his backpack and headed for the stairs. Through the lobby windows he could see the sky, bruised purple, lightning flickering in the distance. The wind bent trees nearly horizontal. His phone buzzed. Delivery app notification. Due to severe weather, all deliveries suspended until further notice. No deliveries meant no tips tonight. Isaiah's chest tightened. He'd counted on at least $15 to buy groceries tomorrow. He pushed through the front doors into the parking lot and stopped. A black town car pulled up to the entrance. The driver stepped out with an umbrella, opened the rear door. A woman in a wheelchair emerged, moving with practiced efficiency despite the wind whipping her camel-colored coat. Catherine Westbrook. Isaiah had cleaned her office 100 times, but never seen her up close. She was smaller than he expected, tired lines around her eyes. But she held herself like someone who'd learned to carry weight without showing it. She wheeled toward the entrance as the first heavy drops of rain began to fall. Then the door burst open. A young woman in scrubs ran out, waving her hands. "Ms. Westbrook! Ms. Westbrook, wait!" Catherine stopped. "What's wrong?" "Dr. Rivera. He's been in an accident on the 405. He's okay, but he can't make it. Your appointment. We have to reschedule." The color drained from Catherine's face. No, no, this was scheduled for weeks. He said the treatment protocol had to start today. The medication sequence. I know, I'm so sorry, but the building's closing. Liability issues with the storm. We have to reschedule for next week. Next week? Catherine's voice cracked. This was my last option. The assistant looked genuinely pained. I'm sorry, Ms. Westbrook, I really am. She hurried back inside, leaving Catherine alone in the covered entrance as the storm opened up. Rain hammered the pavement. Thunder rolled like drums. Isaiah stood 20 feet away, mop bucket still in his hand, frozen. Catherine's driver, a tall man in a black suit, was on his phone, pacing. Yes, I need Dr. Rivera's personal number. This is David Brooks, calling on behalf of Catherine Westbrook. It's urgent. Catherine sat motionless in her wheelchair. Her hands gripped the armrests, knuckles white. Her jaw clenched, eyes closed. Isaiah recognized that look. He'd seen it on Ruby's face when the pharmacy said her medication was on back order. The look of someone holding themselves together by sheer force of will. The rational part of his brain screamed at him, "Not your problem. You're nobody. You can't help her." But his feet moved forward anyway. His stomach cramped with hunger. He'd burned through breakfast hours ago. His delivery shift was canceled, which meant no dinner money. He should go home, save his energy. Instead, he set down the mop bucket. I walked toward the entrance. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it over the rain. "Excuse me, ma'am?" Catherine's eyes opened. She looked up at him, recognition flickering. She'd seen him around the building. "Yes?" David stepped between them. "Sir, Ms. Westbrook is in the middle of something." "I know," Isaiah said quickly. His hands were shaking. "I heard about the appointment, about Dr. Rivera." Catherine studied him. "You work here, custodial staff." "Yes, ma'am, Isaiah Grant." He swallowed hard. "I know this is going to sound crazy, but I think I can help you." David's face hardened. "Kid, this isn't appropriate." "Wait!" Catherine raised one hand. Her eyes locked onto Isaiah's. "Help me how?" The words tumbled out. "I've been studying physical therapy for 2 years, on my own. Books, videos, medical journals. I know about your injury. I'm not trying to be creepy, I clean the offices, I see files, and I've read about techniques. Pressure point therapy, neural pathway stimulation. I think I might be able to do something." Lightning cracked overhead. "You're offering to treat me?" Catherine's voice was careful, measured. "Do you have certification? Training?" "No, ma'am." Isaiah's face burned with shame. "Just knowledge. And I've practiced the techniques. On myself. On my grandmother. I know where the nerves are. Where they should connect." "This is insane," David started. "And what do you want in exchange?" Catherine cut him off, still looking at Isaiah. This was the part that made Isaiah want to disappear into the floor. "I haven't eaten since yesterday morning," he said quietly. "If it works, just a meal. That's all I'm asking." The silence stretched. Rain pounded. The wind howled. The building alarm beeped its final warning. 10 minutes until complete shutdown. Catherine looked at Isaiah for a long moment. Really looked at him, saw the worn shoes, the too thin frame, the desperate hope mixed with terrified pride. She saw herself, 17 years ago, before the money, when she'd been hungry too. "David," she said softly, "help me back inside." Isaiah's breath caught. "Ma'am?" Catherine met his eyes. "You have 10 minutes. Show me what you can do." David pushed Catherine's wheelchair back through the entrance. Isaiah followed, his heart hammering against his ribs. The building was nearly empty now. Footsteps echoed in the marble lobby. Emergency lights cast long shadows. "The physical therapy room," Catherine said. "3rd floor." Isaiah nodded. He had keys. He cleaned that room every Tuesday and Thursday. The elevator ride felt eternal. Nobody spoke. Isaiah could hear his own breathing, too fast, too loud. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. "What are you doing? You're not a doctor. You're a kid with a mop." But he'd come this far. The therapy room was dark when they entered. Isaiah flipped the lights. Fluorescent bulbs flickered to life, revealing treatment tables, resistance bands, parallel bars. Equipment worth more than his entire apartment building. "David, wait outside," Catherine said. "Ms. Westbrook, I don't think—" "Outside." Her voice was firm, but not unkind. "Please." David hesitated, then stepped into the hallway, leaving the door cracked. Isaiah could feel him watching. Catherine wheeled herself to the center of the room. "What do you need?" Isaiah's mouth was dry. "Can you transfer to the table? I need you lying flat." She nodded, positioning her chair. With practiced efficiency, she used her arms to lift herself onto the padded table. Isaiah helped adjust her legs, careful not to touch without permission. "I'm going to wash my hands," he said. He scrubbed at the sink like he was preparing for surgery. Once, twice, 3 times. The hot water burned his chapped skin. When he turned back, Catherine was watching him. "What exactly are you going to do?" she asked. Isaiah approached the table slowly. "Your injury is at the T12 vertebra, right? That's mid-back, where the spinal cord controls leg function." Her eyebrows lifted. "You did read the files?" "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Continue." He took a breath. "Most spinal injuries aren't complete severance. The pathways are there. They're just disrupted, blocked. The signals from your brain can't reach your legs because the connection is damaged." "I've heard this before," Catherine said. "From specialists who charge $500 an hour." "Right. But they focus on medication and surgery. What if—" Isaiah moved to the foot of the table. "What if we focus on reminding your body what it already knows? Neural memory. Your legs haven't moved in 3 years, but the blueprint is still there, in your muscles, your nerves. We just have to wake it up." Catherine's expression was unreadable. "And you learned this from books?" "Books, videos, medical journals I found online." He hesitated. "And desperation. I've watched my grandmother's hands lock up from arthritis. I've massaged them, worked the joints, applied pressure to specific points. And sometimes her fingers move easier afterward. Not cured, but better." "Pressure points." "Yes, ma'am. Combined with neural stimulation techniques. If I can activate the nerve clusters in your feet and legs, send signals strong enough to reach your brain, maybe your brain will remember how to send signals back." Thunder rattled the windows. Catherine closed her eyes. "I've spent $2 million on treatments. What's one more desperate attempt?" She opened her eyes. "Do it." Isaiah positioned himself at her feet. "Can I touch you?" "Yes." His hands hovered over her left foot. Then I made contact. Her skin was cool, smooth. No response when he pressed his thumb into the arch. "Can you feel this?" he asked. "Pressure. Maybe. I've felt phantom sensations before. I don't trust them anymore." Isaiah nodded. He worked methodically, applying firm pressure to specific points on her foot. The spaces between metatarsals, the heel, the ankle. Points he'd memorized from diagrams, from studying reflexology charts, from ancient Chinese medicine texts he'd found in the library. His thumbs traced the path of nerves up her calf, pressing, holding, releasing. "This might feel warm," he said, "or tingly, or nothing." Catherine's breathing slowed. "I feel something, like buzzing under the skin." Isaiah's heart jumped. He continued up to her knee, his movements confident now. He could feel the muscles beneath his hands, atrophied from disuse but still there, still capable. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool room. He moved to her lower back, asking permission before lifting her shirt slightly. His fingers found the T12 vertebra. He could identify it by counting down from her neck, just like the anatomy book taught him. He pressed firmly on either side of her spine, not on the vertebra itself, but the muscles surrounding it, the nerve bundles that branched out from the spinal cord. Catherine gasped. Isaiah pulled back instantly. "What? Did I hurt you?" "No." Her voice was shaking. "I felt that. Not pressure. Not a phantom sensation. I felt your hands. Warm. Real." Isaiah's breath caught. "Are you sure?" "I haven't felt anything below my waist in 3 years." Tears gathered in her eyes. "I'm sure." His hands returned to her back. More pressure now, sustained and focused. He visualized the neural pathways like he'd seen in diagrams, highways of electricity branching from the spine to every part of the body. "Focus on your legs," he said softly. "Don't try to move them yet. Just remember what it felt like. Your brain knows. Your body knows." Catherine's hands gripped the edge of the table. Her eyes closed. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The building alarm blared, final warning before lockdown. "We're running out of time," Isaiah said. "I need you to try something." "What?" "Try to move your right big toe." Silence. Catherine's face tensed with concentration, veins visible in her temple. Every muscle in her upper body is straining. Nothing happened. "I can't," she whispered. "You can. Not with force, with memory. Remember what it felt like to wiggle your toes. The exact sensation. Your body remembers." Another minute passed. Then, her right big toe twitched. Just barely. A 1/4 inch of movement, but unmistakable. Isaiah staggered backward, his hand over his mouth. "Oh my God." Catherine's eyes flew open. Did something happen?" "Again. Try again." She closed her eyes, focused. The toe moved again, more clearly this time. Catherine burst into tears, deep, wrenching sobs that shook her whole body. 3 years of grief and frustration and hopelessness pouring out all at once. Isaiah stood frozen, overwhelmed. He'd hoped for pain relief, maybe improved sensation, but this, actual movement, this was beyond anything he'd imagined. The door flew open. David rushed in. "What happened? Ms. Westbrook, are you—" "I moved my toe." Catherine's voice was barely audible through the crying. "David, I moved my toe." David's face went pale. "What did he do?" "I don't know." Catherine reached for Isaiah's hand, gripping it hard. "What did you just do?" Isaiah shook his head, dazed. I've been studying this for so long, and I thought maybe, but I didn't know if—" The building alarm escalated to a continuous wail. "We need to go," David said urgently. "Now!" He helped Catherine back into her wheelchair. She wouldn't let go of Isaiah's hand. "What's your phone number?" she demanded. "Your address?" Isaiah hesitated. Pride warred with desperation. 417-555-0139, he said quietly. "You're coming to my house tomorrow. 10 a.m. This isn't over." Catherine's face was flushed, alive in a way it hadn't been minutes ago. "We're not done." Isaiah remembered why he'd done this. "You said food?" Catherine actually laughed, a sound of pure joy. "David, give him everything in the car." They rushed to the parking lot through the storm. David opened the town car's trunk, pulled out an emergency travel bag, handed it to Isaiah. Inside, sandwiches wrapped in plastic, fresh fruit, bottled water, chocolate bars, packets of nuts. Isaiah clutched the bag like it was made of gold. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you so much." But Catherine wasn't listening. She was staring at Isaiah's face with a strange intensity, like she was trying to solve a puzzle, like she was seeing something that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. "Tomorrow," she said again, 10 a.m. David will pick you up. The town car pulled away into the storm, leaving Isaiah standing in the rain, holding enough food to last 3 days. He had no idea he'd just changed both their lives forever. The call came at 8:47 a.m. "Is this Isaiah Grant?" A crisp voice. "Yes?" "Ms. Westbrook's car will arrive at 9:45 a.m. Please be ready." Isaiah's heart jumped. "I have work. Ms. Westbrook has contacted your employers. You're excused." The line went dead. Ruby emerged from the bedroom. "Who was that?" "The woman I helped yesterday. She's sending a car." At 9:51 a.m., the black town car pulled up. Neighbors stared from windows. David, the driver, nodded. "Let's go." 20 minutes later, they passed through iron gates. Isaiah's breath caught. The estate was massive, Georgian columns, manicured gardens, a fountain. A butler led him through marble hallways to a sunroom. Catherine sat in her wheelchair, but different somehow. Hair down, casual clothes, eyes bright. "Isaiah, thank you for coming." "Yes, ma'am." "Sit." She gestured to a chair. "I worked with my toes all night. This morning, my physical therapist confirmed it. Unprecedented neural recovery. You gave me what $2 million couldn't buy." She reached for an envelope, slid it across the table. $10,000. It's not payment. It's gratitude." Isaiah stared at the envelope. His hands stayed in his lap. Silence stretched. "I can't take that," he said quietly. Catherine blinked. "Excuse me?" "Ma'am, I didn't do it for money." Isaiah looked up. "I did it because you looked like my grandmother when she's hurting, and because I finally got to use what I've been studying. That was enough." "Isaiah, be practical." "If you want to thank me, let me keep learning. Your physical therapist. Can I watch? Learn from her? That's worth more than any money." Catherine's expression shifted. She saw something in him. Genuine refusal, not false modesty. "All right," she said softly. "But you stay for lunch. Non-negotiable." Isaiah smiled. "Yes, ma'am." They ate in the kitchen. Sandwiches and soup. Real food. Isaiah noticed a framed photo on the credenza. A young black boy, maybe 8, wearing a basketball jersey. A bright smile. Next to it, a memorial candle, burning. Catherine saw him looking. Her face clouded. "My son, Elijah. We lost him 5 years ago." "I'm sorry," Isaiah said quietly. "He'd be your age now. 17. A tear slipped down her cheek. "You remind me of him. The way you speak. Your hands." She wiped her eyes quickly, changed the subject. "Tell me about you. Your family." Isaiah shared his story. Ruby raising him, mother died when he was 6, never knew his father. Dropped out to work, dreamed of college but couldn't afford it. Catherine asked specific questions. Where was he born? Mother's name? Birthday? November 12th, Isaiah said. Catherine's hand trembled holding her coffee cup. "Where did you grow up?" she pressed. "South Side. Same neighborhood my whole life. My grandmother, Ruby, she worked as a nurse before her arthritis got bad." "A nurse? Where?" "St. Mary's Hospital. Labor and delivery." Something flickered across Catherine's face, too fast for Isaiah to read. "Your mother, Linda, how did she die?" Isaiah shifted uncomfortably. "Car accident. I was 6. "And your father?" "Never knew him. My mom had me when I was young. Graham said he wasn't in the picture." Isaiah shrugged. "It's fine. I don't need him." Catherine stared at him for a long moment, like she was solving a puzzle. "Isaiah," she said carefully, "starting Monday, come observe Dr. Kim's sessions, 8 a.m. "Really?" "Really." She handed him a business card. On the back, a handwritten phone number. "Call me anytime, for anything." Isaiah looked at the card. Catherine Westbrook, CEO, Westbrook Medical and Westbrook Foundation. Thank you, Ms. Westbrook. Catherine, please. As David drove him home, Isaiah watched the mansion disappear in the rearview mirror. He didn't see Catherine in the window, phone pressed to her ear. Didn't hear her say, "Gerald, I need you to investigate someone, quietly. Isaiah Grant, born November 12th. I need to know everything." Didn't know his whole world was about to change. Catherine waited until the town car disappeared down the driveway. Then she walked to her study, not wheeled, walked, using the wall for support, and closed the door. Her hands shook as she dialed. "Gerald Moss Investigation Services. Gerald, it's Catherine Westbrook. I need you to do something. Quietly." "Of course. What do you need?" "A background check. Complete. Everything you can find." She sat at her desk, pulling Elijah's photo closer. "The subject is Isaiah Grant. I am 17 years old. Lives on the south side with his grandmother, Ruby Grant." "What exactly are you looking for?" Catherine's voice dropped. "Birth records, hospital records. His mother's name was Linda Grant. She died in a car accident 11 years ago. She was a labor and delivery nurse at St. Mary's Hospital." A pause. "Catherine, what's this about?" "His birthday is November 12th, 2008. Her voice cracked. "The same day I gave birth to twins." Gerald's tone shifted. "Catherine, I know how it sounds, but Gerald, when he walked into that storm, when he put his hands on me, I felt something. Not just physical sensation, something deeper. And today, sitting across from him," she touched the photo. "He has Elijah's eyes, his smile, the way he tilts his head when he's thinking. Coincidence? His grandmother was a nurse at St. Mary's, the same hospital where I delivered, the same month. And Thomas..." She swallowed hard. "You remember what Thomas said that night, when he was drunk?" Silence. "Sometimes the hardest thing is knowing you saved the right one," Gerald quoted softly. "I remember. I thought he meant survivor's guilt, about Elijah living and his twin dying. But what if..." Catherine opened her locked desk drawer, pulled out a small wooden box. Inside, 2 hospital bracelets. "Baby boy Westbrook A, November 12th, 2008, 3:47 a.m. Baby boy Westbrook B, November 12th, 2008, 3:52 a.m. She'd kept them for 17 years. 2 sons, 1 funeral. "They told me twin B died within hours. Respiratory failure. I was sedated, traumatized. By the time I was coherent enough to ask questions, there was a death certificate, a tiny casket. We buried him. You think Thomas lied to you? I think Thomas paid someone to make a problem disappear." Catherine's voice hardened. "His family never accepted that I was half black. 1 mixed son was scandalous enough. But 2? Gerald, you knew him. You know what he was capable of when it came to protecting the Westbrook name. What do you need from me?" "Everything. Birth records, adoption papers if they exist, medical files, Linda Grant's financial records around that time. I need to know if my husband stole my son from me. This will take a few days. I also need DNA confirmation. I had Isaiah here today. He used a glass." She looked at the tumbler sitting in a plastic bag on her desk. "Can you arrange discrete testing?" "Yes, I'll need a sample from you as well. Come by tonight. And Gerald?" Catherine's voice broke. "I need to know if I've been mourning a living child for 17 years. She hung up, sat in the silence of her study, stared at Isaiah's phone number on the notepad. 3 days. The DNA results would take 3 days. But somehow, she already knew. A mother knows her child, even one she thought was dead. Monday morning, 8 a.m. Isaiah arrived at Catherine's estate nervous and early. Dr. Sarah Kim was already there, setting up equipment in the home therapy room. "You must be Isaiah." She extended her hand. "Catherine told me about you. What you did was remarkable." I just tried some techniques I'd read about. Techniques that 7 specialists missed. Dr. Kim smiled. Pay attention today. You might teach me something. For the next hour, Isaiah watched Dr. Kim work with Catherine. Resistance exercises, nerve stimulation, range of motion tests. Catherine could now move all 5 toes on her right foot. Her left foot showed sensation returning. Her ankle rotated slightly. This is unprecedented, Dr. Kim said, making notes. In 3 years, we've had minimal progress. In 3 days, you've recovered more neural function than I've seen in my entire career. Isaiah asked questions. Dr. Kim answered patiently, impressed by his knowledge. How long have you been studying physical therapy? About 2 years, on my own. You have exceptional intuition. Ever considered medical school? Isaiah laughed bitterly. Can't even afford community college applications. Catherine, listening from the table, said nothing. But her eyes never left him. Tuesday, same time. Catherine lifted her knee an inch off the table. Everyone in the room froze. Did I just... Catherine's voice shook. You did. Dr. Kim's voice was awed. Isaiah, support her leg. Let's see if she can hold it. Isaiah's hands slid under Catherine's calf, gentle and sure. You're doing it. Feel the muscle working. Remember this. Catherine held the position for 5 seconds before her leg lowered. Then she broke down, crying. Isaiah and Dr. Kim gave her space, but Catherine reached for Isaiah's hand, gripping it hard. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you. After Dr. Kim left, Catherine asked Isaiah to stay. They sat in the sunroom. Afternoon light filtered through the windows. Isaiah, I need to ask you something personal. He tensed. Okay? Your mother, Linda. How did she die? Car accident. I was 6. Why? Catherine's hands twisted in her lap. Did she ever talk about your father? Just that he didn't want us. Isaiah shrugged, uncomfortable. Graham said my mom had me young. The father wasn't in the picture. It's fine, I don't... What if I told you I think I might know who your father was? Isaiah froze. What? Catherine stood, actually stood, using a cane for balance, and walked slowly to her study. Isaiah followed, heart pounding. She opened a locked drawer, pulled out the wooden box. My husband, Thomas Westbrook, died 7 years ago. Heart attack. Her voice was steady but cold. He was a good man, or so I thought. She showed Isaiah the hospital bracelets. Elijah was born November 12, 2008, twin A, but there was a twin B. She looked at Isaiah. The doctors said twin B didn't survive the first night. Respiratory complications. We had a funeral, a casket. I mourned him while trying to keep Elijah alive. Isaiah's face went pale. I don't understand. After you left last week, something triggered a memory. Years ago, Thomas got drunk and said something strange. Sometimes the hardest thing is knowing you saved the right one. I thought he meant survivor's guilt. She pulled out a folder, Gerald's preliminary report. But I started wondering. You were born November 12th. Your grandmother Ruby worked at St. Mary's Hospital, the same hospital where I gave birth. Your mother Linda was a labor and delivery nurse there. Isaiah backed away. You think, no. That's crazy. Linda Grant paid off her nursing school loans that exact month. Bought a house. Your grandmother got a live-in arrangement. Catherine's voice cracked. I think Thomas paid Linda to fake a death certificate. To take twin B and raise him away from the Westbrook family. Why would he do that? Catherine's face twisted with pain. Because I'm half black. Thomas's family, old money, old prejudices, they barely tolerated 1 mixed grandchild. 2 would have been unacceptable. And Thomas... She slammed the file down. Thomas always chose his family name over everything else. Isaiah's legs gave out. He sat heavily. So you think I'm your... I think my husband took my son from me and let me believe he was dead for 17 years. Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. Why would my mother agree? Isaiah's voice was barely audible. Money. Security. Maybe she convinced herself she was saving you from a father who'd reject you. Catherine's voice softened. Isaiah, I've read her journals. Gerald found them in storage. Linda struggled with guilt. But she loved you. She truly loved you. Isaiah put his head in his hands. This is insane. You're saying my entire life is a lie? I'm saying we were both lied to. Catherine sat beside him, moving carefully. I submitted our DNA for testing. Results come Thursday. But Isaiah, she touched his shoulder. I already know. I feel it. You're my son. Isaiah looked up, tears streaming. I had a mom. Linda was my mom. And Ruby raised me. I can't just... I'm not trying to replace them. Catherine's own tears fell. I just want to know you. Be in your life. However that looks. What about Elijah? Isaiah's voice broke. You said he died. When? 5 years ago. Leukemia. He was 12. Catherine barely whispered it. I lost him all over again, and I've been searching for meaning ever since. She took Isaiah's hands. When you walked up to me in that storm, I thought I was seeing a ghost. And when you touched me, I felt a sensation for the first time in 3 years. Her voice shook. Isaiah, you brought me back to life. My son brought me back. I don't know if I can believe this. Thursday. We'll know Thursday. Isaiah stood, unsteady. I need to go. I need to think. Of course, David will drive you. But as Isaiah reached the door, Catherine called out, Isaiah? Whatever that paper says, you changed my life. That's real. That matters. Isaiah nodded without turning around, and left, his entire world crumbling behind him. Isaiah didn't sleep for 2 days. He told Ruby everything. She cried, holding him on the couch like he was 6 years old again. Linda had secrets, Ruby admitted, about how you came to us. She said there were complications, legal things I shouldn't ask about. I didn't push because, baby, we needed you, and she loved you so much. Was any of it real? Isaiah whispered. Her love was real. My love is real. That's what matters. But Isaiah wasn't sure what mattered anymore. Thursday morning, 10 a.m. The envelope sat on Catherine's coffee table between them. Neither touched it. Catherine broke the silence first. Before we open this, I need to say something. Isaiah nodded, throat tight. Whether or not that paper confirms biology, you've already changed my life. You gave me hope, movement, purpose. She pushed a different folder across the table. And I want to offer you something. Isaiah stared at the folder but didn't open it. This is a full scholarship to UCLA's pre-medicine program. I've endowed it in Elijah's name, the Elijah Westbrook Memorial Scholarship for Exceptional Healers. You're the first recipient. Isaiah's hands trembled. I didn't even apply. I have connections. Your GED scores are exceptional. Your work history shows character. Dr. Kim wrote a letter calling you a prodigy. Catherine leaned forward. 4 years undergraduate, fully covered. Then medical school if you choose. Tuition, housing, stipend for Ruby's care. Everything. Why? Isaiah's voice cracked. Even if I'm not, because you deserve it. Because the world needs healers who understand suffering. Because you, with nothing but borrowed knowledge and a kind heart, did what millions of dollars couldn't. She slid another document forward. There's more. The Westbrook Foundation is launching a mobile therapy initiative, bringing affordable physical therapy to underserved communities. I want you to help design it. Paid position. Part-time while you study. Isaiah couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. You'll have real impact, Catherine continued. People like you, people who've been hungry, who've struggled. You understand what it means to need help and can't afford it. This is too much, Isaiah whispered. It's not enough. It'll never be enough to thank you. Silence stretched between them. Finally, Catherine reached for the envelope. Ready? No. Isaiah's voice shook. But open it anyway. Catherine's hands trembled as she tore the seal. She pulled out the single page, read it silently. Her face crumpled. She handed Isaiah the paper, unable to speak. His eyes found the words. Probability of maternity, 99.97%. Isaiah read it 3 times. The letters blurred. So you're... He couldn't finish. You're my son. Catherine sobbed openly now. You're my son. They sat there, both crying. The truth settled over them like weight and wings simultaneously. I don't know how to feel, Isaiah finally said. I'm angry at your husband. I'm grateful to Linda. I'm confused about Ruby. I'm overwhelmed by you. I know. Catherine reached across the space between them. We'll figure it out. Together, if you want. Isaiah pulled back slightly. I had a mom. Linda was my mom. And Ruby's been my mom too. I don't want to replace them. I'm not asking you to. I just want to know you. Be in your life, however that looks. Isaiah stared at the scholarship folder, at the DNA results, at this woman who was suddenly, impossibly his mother. I'll take the scholarship, he said slowly. And the job with the foundation. But not because of this. He held up the DNA paper. Not because of biology. Because I earned it. Because I want it. Because it's my dream. Catherine smiled through tears. You absolutely earned it. And I want Ruby taken care of. Isaiah's voice grew stronger. She raised me, sacrificed for me. She deserves more than struggling. Already done. I've set up a trust for her health care and living expenses. She'll never worry about money again. Isaiah's shoulders sagged with relief. And one more thing. Anything. I want to use Elijah's name for the scholarship for the foundation. Your son, my brother, his memory should do good in the world. Catherine broke down completely. Great, shaking sobs. Isaiah moved to sit beside her, awkward, uncertain, but he put his arm around her shoulders. He would have loved you, Catherine whispered. I wish you could have known him. Tell me about him, Isaiah said softly. I want to know my brother. So Catherine talked about Elijah's laugh, his love of basketball, the way he read books under his covers with a flashlight, how he fought leukemia with courage that broke her heart. He was scared at the end, Catherine said, but he told me, Mom, don't be sad forever. Promise me you'll find something good to do, something that matters. She looked at Isaiah. And then you walked into that storm. You gave me purpose again. You gave me my son back. Isaiah wiped his own eyes. I don't know how to be your son. I don't know what that looks like. We'll figure it out. No pressure, no expectations. Just, let's start with being in each other's lives. Isaiah nodded. Okay, I can do that. Catherine extended her hand formally. Isaiah looked at it, then laughed, the first real laugh in days, and shook it. Deal, he said. Deal. They sat together in the sunroom, the DNA results on the table, the scholarship folder between them, and 17 years of secrets finally exposed to light. Outside, the sun broke through clouds. Inside, 2 broken people began the slow process of becoming whole. Not as strangers, not quite as mother and son, but as 2 souls who'd found each other in a storm and refused to let go. 6 months later, everything had changed. Isaiah stood in his UCLA dorm room, an anatomy textbook spread across his desk. Real textbooks now, not stolen glances at discarded charts. His phone buzzed, a video call from Ruby. Baby, look at this. She panned her camera around a bright, spacious apartment. Accessible bathroom, modern kitchen. Catherine had it all modified for my arthritis. I ain't hurt this little in 20 years. Isaiah grinned. You deserve it, Grams. No, you earned it. I'm so proud of you. After they hung up, Isaiah looked at the before and after photos on his wall. Before, 3 jobs, empty fridge, cracked phone, sleeping on a couch with broken springs. After, full ride scholarship, meal plan, a future that felt real. But the biggest change wasn't the money. It was purpose. The ribbon-cutting ceremony drew a crowd. 3 mobile therapy vans lined up outside the Southside Community Center, each one wrapped in bright graphics. Elijah's Hands Mobile Therapy Initiative. Free care, infinite hope. News cameras captured Catherine at the microphone, walking now with just a slight limp and a cane. 5 years ago, I lost my son Elijah to leukemia. 3 years ago, I lost my ability to walk. 6 months ago, a 17-year-old kid I thought was a stranger gave me both back. She gestured to Isaiah standing beside her. Isaiah didn't just heal my body. He showed me what true care looks like. Not transactional, but transformational. The crowd applauded. Isaiah stepped to the microphone, nervous. I remember being that kid who couldn't afford help, who watched my grandmother ration her medication. This program makes sure no one has to choose between healing and eating. The vans would travel to underserved neighborhoods 5 days a week. Free physical therapy. No insurance required. No questions asked. Just care. 1 month in, the results were undeniable. A local news segment showed a grandmother in tears. They came to my house. I haven't walked without pain in 5 years. Now I can pick up my grandbabies again. A teenage athlete. Tore my ACL. No insurance. I thought my basketball career was over. Elijah's Hands got me back on the court. Dr. Kim appeared in a medical journal article. Neural pathway reactivation through pressure therapy. The Isaiah Grant method. Catherine's story became a case study presented at medical conferences nationwide. The foundation served 500 families in the first month. By month 3, 1,500 families. The ripple effects spread wider. Save Mart, Isaiah's old grocery store job, created a scholarship fund for employees' children. Mr. Peterson, the manager who'd once made Isaiah restock shelves for no reason, personally donated the first $5,000. Westbrook Medical Plaza launched a mentorship program pairing custodial staff with medical students. 3 other cities, Oakland, Sacramento, Fresno, reached out asking to replicate the mobile therapy model. On social media, #Elijah's Hands started trending. People shared their healing stories, donated. I volunteered. A map graphic showed the program's expansion. 4 cities, 12 vans, 10,000 families served. 1,000 teams. Ruby became the volunteer coordinator, connecting elderly community members to services. She'd found purpose again, too. Isaiah balanced it all, barely. Morning classes at UCLA, anatomy, physiology, chemistry. Afternoons, volunteering with the mobile units, learning from Dr. Kim, treating patients under supervision. Evenings, foundation board meetings via video call, helping design expansion strategies. Late nights, studying until his eyes burned. But he'd never been happier. One afternoon between classes, Catherine called. Turn on Channel 7. Isaiah found a TV in the student lounge. A news anchor was speaking. The Westbrook Foundation's Elijah's Hands initiative has been nominated for the National Healthcare Innovation Award. Founder Catherine Westbrook credits the program's success to Isaiah Grant, a UCLA pre-med student who started with nothing but compassion and borrowed knowledge. Students around Isaiah started recognizing him. Whispers, pointing. He felt his face flush. His phone exploded with texts. Ruby. Baby, you're on TV, Doctor. Kim. So proud. You've changed the field. Catherine. Your brother would be so proud. I'm so proud. Isaiah stepped outside, overwhelmed. He thought about that night 6 months ago, kneeling in the rain, starving, desperate, offering a miracle he wasn't sure he could deliver. He just wanted to help. He just wanted a meal. Instead, he'd found a family, a future, a purpose bigger than survival. The boy who'd had nothing had given everything. And somehow, in return, he'd received more than he ever imagined possible. Not just for himself, for thousands. That's what healing really meant. Not just fixing what's broken, but creating something beautiful from the brokenness. 2 years later, November 12th, Isaiah's 20th birthday, the anniversary of everything. He stood inside one of the Elijah's Hands mobile therapy vans, parked outside the Westbrook Medical Plaza, the same building where it all began. Rain tapped against the van's roof, just like that night. Isaiah had just finished treating an elderly man with chronic back pain. As the patient left, Isaiah cleaned the treatment table and noticed someone watching through the window. A young girl, maybe 16, Latina, wearing a gray custodial uniform. She stood in the rain, staring at him with an expression he recognized instantly. Hunger. Not for food, for something more. Isaiah stepped out of the van. "Hey, you work here?" The girl jumped, defensive. "Yeah. Why?" "I used to work here too. Custodial staff." He gestured to the building. "Cleaned those floors for a year." Her eyes widened slightly. "You? But you're a student now. Pre-med at UCLA. Isaiah smiled. "But I started where you are." The girl, her name tag read Sophia, looked skeptical. "Good for you." "You were watching the treatment." "So? I watch a lot of stuff." Isaiah recognized that tone, pride mixed with shame. "Are you interested in medical work?" Sophia's guard dropped just a fraction. "Doesn't matter. Can't afford school." "What if I told you there's a scholarship, a program that teaches people like us, people who care, how to heal?" He pulled a card from his pocket, handed it to her. Sophia read it. Elijah's Hands Training Program. Full scholarship available. "Apply," Isaiah said. "I'll write your recommendation myself." "Why would you help me?" Suspicion crept back into her voice. Isaiah looked up at the building. In the rain. At this girl standing exactly where he'd stood 2 years ago. "Someone helped me once," he said quietly. "When I had nothing to offer but hope. She gave me everything. So now I pass it forward." Sophia clutched the card like it might disappear. "I'll think about it." "Don't think too long. Deadline's next month." A car pulled up, Catherine's town car. She stepped out, walking steadily now, no cane. She saw Isaiah with Sophia and smiled knowingly. "Making investments?" Catherine asked as she approached. "The best kind," Isaiah replied. Sophia glanced between them, confused by their easy connection, then hurried back inside the building. Catherine and Isaiah watched her go. "She reminds me of someone," Catherine said. "Me too." They stood together in the rain. Mother and son. 2 years of healing between them. Physical, emotional, relational. "Happy birthday," Catherine said softly. "Happy birthday to Elijah, too." "He would have loved this. What you've built." Isaiah looked at the mobile van, at the building, at the rain-soaked entrance where a scared, hungry kid had once knelt and offered a miracle. "We built it," Isaiah corrected. "Together." Catherine took his hand, squeezed it. And in that moment, the circle was complete. The boy who'd been lost was found. The woman who'd been broken was whole. And somewhere, another young person was about to discover that kindness isn't just returned. It multiplies. Isaiah's story proves something powerful. Healing isn't just medical. It's human. It's seeing someone's pain and refusing to look away. It's offering what you have, even when it's not enough for yourself. It's choosing compassion over convenience. He was just a hungry kid with a dream. Catherine was just a woman who'd lost everything. But together, they created something that's now served over 10,000 families. All because Isaiah chose kindness when he had every reason not to. All because Catherine chose to invest in people, not just write checks. What small act of kindness can you do today? You never know. You might be someone's miracle. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs hope right now. And drop a comment below. What act of kindness changed your life? Let's inspire each other. Because kindness isn't small, it's everything.